Hi everyone, it's Matt here from Greatness Everyday, and in this video I want to go ahead and I want to give you my thoughts about a book that I read recently, and that book is called Escape by Anik Singal, and it's a book that I think every entrepreneur should read. If you look at the subtitle of the book, it is the 4 stages of becoming a successful entrepreneur, and I have to say that the book is just super well written. It doesn't cost a lot. I went ahead and bought it as an ebook. I know you can buy the paperback version as well, but I bought it as an ebook, and I think it's worth every penny that I bought it for, and that's saying a lot when I pay for a book. And it was just a really good read. It was a simple read. So in this video, I want to give you some of my thoughts, I want to give you my takeaways, and I want to tell you 2 questions that it raised for me. If you're an entrepreneur out there, if you're an aspiring entrepreneur, somebody that's thinking about how do they live their life with purpose, I definitely recommend you read this book. Like I said before, that it is a simple and easy to read book, and one of the reasons is it doesn't just go chapter by chapter. It goes chapter, but then within each chapter, it's split up into super specific sections. Some of those are just half of a page, some of those are longer, but that is something that really helped me read the book quicker and a lot faster, and I really didn't want to put the book down because I'd see the heading of the next section and I'd want to read that and then I'd keep reading. So that's something I'd say. It was very well written, and he really mixed the storytelling through his own personal experience, and he's got a lot of personal experience, especially coming from a background where he was really kind of he chose it, but at the same time, it was really kind of chosen for him what he was going to do with his schooling, go into medical school and so on, or felt the pressure of it, at least, let's say, before he went ahead and really kind of discovered what he wanted to do with his entrepreneurship side of things and really kind of found his passion. So I recommend this book a lot. The book is split up into 4 main areas. What he does is he says you need to be a successful entrepreneur, and if you have really kind of developed skills in these 4 areas, you're going to do well, or the likelihood of that, because there's never any guarantees, but the likelihood that you'll become a successful entrepreneur if you are strong in these 4 areas of self, catapult, authority, and people, and he breaks these titles down in much more detail in the different sections in the book. Then these are the 4 areas you're really going to need to succeed as an entrepreneur in your life. Some of the big takeaways I had was the whole idea of an entrepreneur mindset versus an employee mindset, and that was really interesting. Just to think about how an entrepreneur views the day-to-day things that they encounter, rather than how the employee views the things that they encounter. There was also a really interesting idea of an entrepreneur who does their own thing independently versus an employee versus an intrapreneur. And this is the first time I've ever heard of this term before. An intrapreneur is kind of like the best of both worlds, let's say. They're an employee to a company, to an organization, but at the same time, they're really kind of going above and beyond and taking those skills that an entrepreneur uses, but applying them into their regular job. So that was an interesting term for me to think about, to learn, and to really kind of look at what skills do I have and where do I fall in my day-to-day world. Am I an entrepreneur? Well, not necessarily. I'm developing this stuff on the side while I'm an employee, but I have a lot of skills and things I've done that would really kind of say I'd be more of this intrapreneur mindset right now. So it's something that I had a lot of fun just kind of reflecting on personally, and that was one of the big takeaways that I took from that. Another big takeaway was the idea of leadership. And with leadership, he talked about being a huge fan of the Washington Redskins. And one of their legendary coaches is Joe Gibbs. And they had gone ahead and had this big upset, this huge win one week. And what he did is the idea that a leader needs to be selfless, all right? So in the face of victory, when they had this huge upset and they really weren't expected to win, the Redskins, what did Joe Gibbs do after the game? Well, he stepped up to the podium. Everybody thought he was going to really kind of take credit and say, oh, everything was great here, but he gave credit away. So when you're winning, give credit away. He said, it's nothing I did as a coach. It's what those players did when they executed and they went out there and they won the game. But then the next week later, they had a big loss, right? Riding the wave, super, super high, where you think that everything's going well, and then you crash down the next week and you lose a very important game. And what happens there is after the game, Gibbs steps up to the podium, wondering what he's going to say. He puts it all on him. He lays the blame on himself for losing. He doesn't blame anybody else. And just that idea of leadership was a great one that I took from reading this book. And it's a great story. We should be selfless. We should, when we have the chance to really kind of take credit or really kind of look at giving the attention to ourselves, we should really be putting the attention somewhere else. And at the same time, when it is our responsibility to really kind of come through and shoulder all of the, let's say the brunt of the reasons, we should really step up and say, no, that was my bad, and hold ourselves accountable, regardless of who's watching, whether it's a couple people watching or whether it's a whole nation and a whole world watching, in the fact of the NFL there. The last takeaway that I had are the 5 things that really set entrepreneurs apart from other people. And that is how they view their time, money, problems, dreams, and their struggle. So a big thing about entrepreneurs is they're going to be optimistic. They are going to be realistic. They are going to really kind of not back down, because I really believe they have a purpose. They know that purpose deep down inside of them. They know that the time they're going to put in is going to be long. They know that they're going to have to invest financially and invest a lot of money potentially into their product or into their service, whatever they are, whatever they're doing. They know that they're going to encounter problems, and rather than viewing those problems as a negative thing, they view those problems as a positive thing, something that's going to help advance them to where they want to get and really be making whatever they're making better. Right? So viewing problems is an interesting one. They know that they're dreams. They know that they have dreams. They know that they are able to really kind of push their limiting beliefs aside and really kind of use those dreams as motivation. And they know that they're going to struggle. They know that the struggle will refine who they are. The struggle will build that grit and resilience that so many people talk about that you need to succeed. And I really feel that a lot of us, myself included, struggle is something that we kind of shy away from. But struggle, dreams, problems, money, and time are all things that an entrepreneur needs to view with the appropriate mindset in order to be successful. Another thing that he does is he gives you a link to his website. He has a learning platform called Learn, and this learning platform is really growing right now. And one of the cool things that I had a lot of fun in is he does, there's an entrepreneurship e-score test, and you can go in, click the link, and you can do your test to see what your e-score is and how likely to succeed that you are as an entrepreneur. So he said anywhere from 75 and up really has entrepreneur tendencies, let's say. When I did the test, it was interesting for me in the 4 areas that I thought I would score. Let's say the one that I thought I was going to score the highest in was the one that I scored the lowest in. And it is just a standardized test, so keep that in mind. But at the same time, it was interesting for me to see that and notice that and really kind of be surprised by that. But I did have an Escape score of 77, so I guess I fall into that realm of entrepreneurship. But don't let a test determine if you're going to become an entrepreneur or if you're not, because really these skills can be built upon. So many of these skills can be built upon. The good thing about a test is it might let you know maybe in what areas you're lacking or in what areas you need to improve so you can develop those skills. So don't take the test as the be-all end-all, but take it as just a quick glimpse of where you can look at improving yourself. And that Escape score was awesome. I really enjoyed doing that, and I would recommend this book in a heartbeat. So 2 questions that I had after reading this book. Number 1 is, how can we break down the paradigms that have been built up in us? So these paradigms are things that really kind of have been built up in us over years by the people we hang out with, by the people we watch on TV or social media, by the music we listen to, by the culture we're raised in, by so many things. How can we break down the paradigms that have been built up in us for so long? Some of those paradigms are good paradigms. Some of them are bad or negative and they need to be changed. So that's a question I have, and I've done some thinking about that myself. And the second question is, how many mentors should you have? And how do you juggle their different opinions if what they're saying and what they're telling you, what they're advising you is different? So those are two questions that I have. I want to hear what you think about those. How can we break down paradigms that have built up in us? And if we have different mentors, how many mentors should we have? And what happens if they're saying different things to us? I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. So go ahead and let me know down in the comments below and we can start that conversation. So that is the book Escape by Anik Singal. I'm really excited. I've seen a few interviews with him. I'm really excited to really dive into his work more. He's got a very interesting story, one that will motivate you probably wherever you're at in your entrepreneurship journey. And I definitely encourage you to check that out. So I hope this video helped you. If it did, please click the thumbs up button, subscribe to our channel, and follow us on Instagram for daily inspiration and encouragement to live a great life. We are starting the year off great on Instagram, and I'd love to have you join us there. If you like websites, you can go ahead and check us out at www.greatnesseveryday.online. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.